All right. How y'all doing, everybody? This is Live with Ebony. Y'all, it's these 9 minutes was probably the worst 9 minutes, 10 minutes that I've experienced just trying to get something going here because as promised, I have an exclusive interview with you all or for you all today with one of a special guests that is, hey auntie, how you doing? Thanks for joining. But with a special guest that I'm excited about that I'm getting ready to bring on. I was trying to also go live on YouTube and I just don't know what is going on, but I'm not gonna let that stop me. I still have this other platform, which is my Instagram platform. So we're gonna just go live here and we're just gonna rock with it like that. So as she get ready to come in, I'm just going to kind of just talk about what I'm doing here. Again, this is Live with Ebony. So let's see, she has already requested to join. So let's go ahead and get this going. So she's coming in. Again, I want to say thank you all for getting ready to come on. We're going to give everybody a few minutes as she get ready to join in. Hey, auntie, thank you so much for joining in. How you doing? How you doing? My special guest, how are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
Doing okay. Well, thank you so much. First, I just want to let the audience know, like, hey, as we're waiting on them to come in, I see one person that's joined so far. A few people, I'm sorry, is coming in. Y'all, we was trying to go live on YouTube, and already it's just, I don't understand. I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but thankfully we have other platforms. We're going to make that work some other time. But y'all, we're going to go ahead and get going because I don't have a lot of time with my special guest today. I'm so excited that she has allowed me this opportunity to do this. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you and bring you on. My special guest is Miss Tiffany J. No Space. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you, Ebony?
I'm doing okay. Thank you so much. So I know, again, we don't have a lot of time, but I first wanted to say to you, and as people are coming in before we get it going, I don't know if you remember me, but about 7 years ago, we actually met at a function.
Okay.
It was okay, so it was a function where it was like for entrepreneurs or for business, for people who wanted to launch their business, but it was Candy Burris. She was one of the keynote speakers.
In Atlanta.
And years ago we met, yes, in Atlanta. And years ago we met. And how I always remembered you was because our platform names was the same at that time.
Okay.
Where your name was I Am Tiffany J and mine was I Am Ebony J.
Okay.
So yeah, so we met briefly. We didn't talk long, but we were kind of networking because the event was a networking event. And so that's why I met you there. So, you know, you don't remember me, but I remembered you, and I've been following you since then.
Ebony J. So I appreciate you reminding me of that first connection. So that's super cool. Yeah.
Yes, and that was like about, what, 7 years ago probably?
Yeah, it was a while ago because I'm a big fan of Candy Burris, and I remember a friend of mine bought me a ticket to go there. And at the time, I knew I gave her my current project, which was my EP at the time. So my first album hadn't even come out yet. So it was definitely before 2016. It was probably like 2015.
Somebody say it was 7 years ago. Yes, that was 2015. And you know what's so funny, and which I'm excited about this. Yes, that was. And because the reason why I brought that up is because, you know, at that time I was a music artist myself.
Okay.
I'm not doing that anymore, but at that time that's why I was there, because, you know, I write music as well. And at that time I was kind of pushing my music independently as well. So
now, correct me if I'm wrong, were you doing fashion like alterations at the time or no?
Okay. No,
Okay.
At that time I was really just pushing as being like a music artist and trying to get into like the you know, at the time, because I forgot the other lady's name, but she was like the producer of Love and Hip Hop. I forgot the lady's name.
Mona Scott.
Mona, there you go.
Yeah.
And so, and it was giving a lot of insight, because at that time I was really pushing to like get on like shows and stuff like that. So just trying to be in that environment, I was like, I really needed to be there. But that's when I met you, because we were networking. It was a bunch of females there, and I ran into you, and I just never forget the conversation, because again, our name was so similar, and I never forgot you, but I was following you ever since then.
Oh, thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, well, that's it's okay that it's all right, darling.
No,
okay.
Your Instagram name doesn't say Ebony J. I noticed all your emails had the Ebony J, but you know I'm a stickler about that J on my name. So I know you got a space in yours, but yeah. So, but thank you for reminding me.
It's a girl. Yes,
ma'am. So, I wanted to say really quick that, I was able to just see how you build. I was able to watch that because, again, I've been following you now for about 7 years.
Right.
Now, yes, my former email, my former name, that account got hacked. So that's probably why you're just not familiar with the new name that you're seeing.
Right.
But that page got hacked. I ended up starting this business page, which is what you're seeing now. But as I had transitioned into that page, I still made sure I kept up with you and followed you. But I saw your growth, and I was like, okay, it's an inspiring thing, is what I want to let you know,
Oh, thank
because I
you.
was able to see, like, I can see where you were building, and just from one phase to the next, I was able to at least see a little bit of it just by following you. So for people out there, just letting you know that there's people that are watching, and that your story can inspire them to see, like, okay, she's growing, and if I'm trying to do the same thing, if she can grow, I can build and do that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but we're not going to waste any time. But I just want to say thank you. But first, so we can go ahead and get into everything, the first question I wanted to ask for those out there that may not know Tiffany J, tell us how long you've been a music recording artist.
Solo wise, a little over 10 years. I became Tiffany J in 2012. So before that, I sang in a group that was technically recording artist, but as Tiffany J, been a little over 10 years.
Okay, all right. And so now, at what age did you realize that music was something that, or being an artist was something that you wanted to do, and singing was something you wanted to do?
I mean, I've always sang. So I think when we started growing up, because we started our group as teenagers. And as we grew older, everybody's life kind of went different ways. Everybody's passions for things weren't the same. And when I don't want to say when the group broke up, because we never technically broke up, but when we were like separating, I still had like a passion to create music. So that's when I was like, let me try the solo thing and see where it goes.
I absolutely can relate to that, because I remember that same thing for me, because I first started out by myself, and then I actually tried to venture off, because I started out as singing because I was raised in a church. So I sung in the choir. My mama made me sing. So when I got older and I knew that, music was something I wanted to do, because I was writing music since I was in elementary school.
Oh, wow.
So just wanting to perform has just always been a passion of mine. So when I had gotten out of high school, the first thing I started venturing into was just being a solo artist. And, I had fun with that, but it was some ups and downs, just being young, 18 years old, just going right into it. At that age, you were immature. I was immature. I didn't know much, but I was just so like gung-ho to want to be in the industry. So I didn't know a lot. So then I transitioned from solo artist to being in a group. So when I did that, I went from being just a singer only to singing and rapping. So I was a rapper as well. And so I can relate to when you talk about the whole being in a group and things like that. And sometimes things don't work out when you're in a group, even if it's people that you feel y'all are really close, or family. When you're having a business like that, you become a business, and that's when the trajectory of things change, because now you have not just yourself, but the whole group is responsible for things. And then sometimes it just don't work out. Somebody else may not have the same passion as you may have, and that can cause conflict. But anyway, so I can relate to that, because the same thing happened with me. And after that didn't work out, I was trying to do my solo thing again. So I definitely understand like everything that what you were explaining. So now I want to explain why embracing your unique identity is so important, especially in such an abrasive industry like music and entertainment.
It's easy to get swallowed in what is quote unquote the norm, because at some point it's hard for people to distinguish you amongst your competition. I don't really like the word competition, but if you are just kind of following trends, you're trendy for just that season. If you're trying to be an artist with longevity, it's important that you find that individuality and uniqueness, because you grow through the time, and you can build legacy in that way when you know who you are and you build upon that, versus seeing something you like and adapting yourself to that. So I think it's important that you find you first develop your artistry, your style around that, because um, I'm not just like a musical artist or whatever. I have a self-development platform, and I just think it's always important for people to find who they are, and build everything that they do around that, because your why is what people gravitate to and not your what.
Absolutely. And that, it also does have a lot to do with, to me, I think it has a lot to do with maturity, where you are
Oh,
in your
absolutely.
growth, just as a person. Because, I can use myself as an example. When I was so young trying to do it, I found myself almost being willing to conform, because I felt like the standards of what the industry wanted of artists and people who wanted to model and things like that,
Mhm.
if you're not mature enough in understanding and really embracing your uniqueness, you can easily conform, because you think, well, if I want it this bad, I'm going to have to do what they want in order to get it.
Right,
So
right.
it comes with maturity in that, and then you'll grow and you'll learn that. And I'm just thankful that it took me a while. I went through a lot of hurt and rejections
Hmm.
and things like that, but
Rejection
I'm
is
glad
always
that what I
hard.
went through, yeah, it brought me to a point of me saying, I'm sure of what I want, I'm sure of who I am, and I know whose I am too, because a lot of that is like not understanding you're a child of God. So, but
Hmm.
thank you for being willing to explain that. So, in the form of advice, explain how you were able to persevere and maintain longevity in this business.
I mean, I'm still a baby, I can't say I got longevity like that.
I mean,
I'm
10 years,
still,
that's
it's just consistency and being persistent. Like, you can't easily give up on things just because they don't work out. One thing I think that I
mhm.
admire about me is that I'm not a perfectionist. And I know that, I guess my goal is never to be perfect, but it's just always whatever is next just can't be worse than what came before. Like, I either have to stay on the same level, or I got to get better. I just don't want to
Okay.
backtrack. So it's not really a thing for me, to sit on stuff long and be like, it got to be perfect before it come out. I'm not a perfectionist at all. So I
Well,
think
good for
my
you.
consistency, kind of helped, keep me here, and setting goals and not setting goals. I had a time in my life where I was setting goals, and then there was another time where it's like, I ain't setting no goals, because when I don't reach goals, then I'm crushed. So I'm gonna just let things happen. So, seasons change, and you just got to figure it out.
So let me ask this. You said that how old were you when you really started delving into this whole being a music artist? Like at what age were you?
So as a solo music artist, I guess I was 26, no, 25 when I became a
Okay.
solo music artist. So before that, when I was in a group, I wasn't really focused on industry either, because we were singing gospel.
Okay.
While we were recording music, it wasn't like an industry type thing that wasn't really my mindset then. So I
Okay.
guess 25 and on, but I was still finding myself at that age too. So like, I'm 36 now. I'm a lot different today than I was when I became Tiffany J.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I guess the reason why I asked that was because now, again, like if you remember, I was saying that I was 18 trying to get in there, and at
Yeah,
18, I
and
knew
I
what I
wasn't
really
that young
wanted.
trying to be in the industry.
Yeah, I was 18 and I knew I wanted to be a superstar. At 18, I knew I wanted to be famous, and that's all I wanted. And you couldn't tell me nothing. And I was so bullheaded, and I was just going for it, but I
Uh-huh.
was going fast nowhere, because I didn't have the counsel, I didn't have the guidance around me to tell me certain things about the industry, or to teach me how harsh the industry was.
Hmm.
So I took the hits and I took them hard, because at that young age, I knew what I wanted so badly. And it seemed like when I was getting rejection after rejection, it crushed me to the core.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I suffered a lot emotionally, because I knew what I wanted at such a young age. Like coming out of high school, I just knew, like, man, I'm about to be big, and you're not gonna tell me nothing. And but again, it was a lot of ignorance there, and I didn't know better. But like you said, looking back, I know I'm not where I was. You're mature in a lot of things, so you kind of know how to go about it, like you said, even for trying to maintain that longevity.
Hmm.
um So now, how does your faith play a role in keeping on and just staying committed to this?
Faith is always at the forefront. By the way, thank you for the earrings. I don't know if you can see them, but I got them today, so I put them on.
Oh, thank
They
you.
was in the mail today.
Okay.
But faith is always gonna be like priority. In terms of, I don't know if you're saying faith as in God or religion or relationship or spirituality, but that for me is always gonna be what leads and guides. So it's not a question whether faith plays a part.
Okay, and you know what? Thank you for bringing that up, because yes, I specifically meant your faith in God. What your faith in God? How does it play a role in trying to stay committed? Because again, when you are trying to choose something that's still secular, you're out in the world, you're still trying to be amongst people.
I struggled with that when I first became TiffanyJ. I was like borderline still trying to, like, my music was still pointing back to scripture.
Okay, good.
And which is, still has references now, but I don't like using the word scared, but I was a little scared of singing R&B. And it's probably
Really?
just because of how I was raised. Like, I was raised in church, gospel is the way, so I wasn't even, it took a while for me to be like, I'm gonna be an R&B artist. So
that's interesting.
When I started, I think I titled myself an inspirational soul artist. And then I kind of dropped inspirational and I put inspirational personality as far as something to describe me. But I took inspirational off of my musical genre at some point. And then, for lack of better terms, because some people be like, what's soul music? And I was like, R&B, I don't like the term to say R&B. That's what I am. I prefer soul, and I hate the term neo soul, but that's what it sounds like.
Okay. Well, I was saying that was so interesting to hear, because unlike me, at 18, I wasn't even thinking about, like, again, I was raised in the church, so I knew about God, but that was at that age where, again, that was a really big phase in my life, where that was one of those moments where just being immature in life and just living to please myself. That was my phase in life where I sort of abandoned God, if I just want to be honest about that. And I was just trying to live to please myself. I wanted what I wanted, and I didn't include God in anything. So I was whatever music I wanted to put out. Don't get me wrong, I loved my music. I took it serious when I was writing.
I follow you.
But the first thing I was not thinking about was God, and that's what should have happened because I fell so hard, going after what I wanted, but just not understanding, like, look, you're abandoning the one source that you need to have as your guidance anyway. I left God behind, so. But anyway, I don't mind being transparent and telling my story in that. But that's why I asked about that, because I think it's very important in your faith and staying committed to anything, regarding your career, whatever it is. We ought to make sure that God and faith is, part of our life as children of God.
I have to consult him first.
Absolutely. So now let me ask, now on that subject, as children of light, we simply want to impact others. We want to leave our mark. We want to make the most of all of our opportunities. So tell us some of the most unique projects or assignments that you have taken on, being in the industry as an artist, that you forged, that's still actually going today for you.
So this year, I turned 10 as an artist last November. And when I was writing music, one of the second songs I put out as a solo artist was called Beauty You Are. And that song actually launched my girls' camp. My girls' camp is called Beauty You Are Boot Camp. And this summer we turned 10 years old. So I have always had a passion for girls and their self-esteem and mental health and self-development. And I think my artistry spilled over into that. So music was first, but it allowed me to grow myself so that I could grow other people. So I'm proud of the work that I do with girls. I'm excited about our camp this year.
Okay.
I think registration for camp opens next week or something like that. I just posted about it yesterday. But I locked in, our location, and we're doing a private The Little Mermaid movie screening for the girls. We are doing a sleepover camp style this year. I got my featured performer already booked and my featured speaker. So I'm excited about the work that I do with girls. And from that, somewhere along the way, I became an author. I don't know how, because I don't like, I'm more of a math person, a numbers person, but I became an author. And through my authorship journey, I wrote a children's book so that I could cater to the girls that I was already mentoring. And that kind of birthed a bigger brand for me, named after a character I created called Super Beauty. So Super Beauty is kind of her name was a little bigger than TiffanyJ's. So I'm proud of that work, but I'm always about growing people to be the best selves, especially children.
Yes, absolutely. We want to, and that's what we are here for. We're here to to deploy whatever it is that God has gifted us to. We have an assignment. So in a sense, whatever it is that we're doing, we're trying to be intentional about how we impact and our influence on people. And then especially the children and girls as well, because we understand, how it is just growing up as children, as females, as Black females,
Exactly.
I know I'm sure you may not target just Black females, but I'm just saying we understand how important it is.
I don't just target Black females. I've had, other races at camp, but primarily I do cater to Black girls. Like, we need our representation. So I'm all about Black girls. I don't have no shame in saying Black girls.
Yeah, you absolutely, that's right. That is right.
We don't turn away nobody else because they ain't Black, but Black girls definitely have a special place in my heart.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Absolutely. So now, which that brings me into this, because I applaud you and I want to say congratulations on 10 years of the business and branching into other things. Like you said, one part of the role opens up opportunities for more roles that you get to play. And again, if you understand your position as a child of God, that's God also just guiding and opening up other assignments to you and things like that you can take serious, because again, we're all striving to live a life worthy of our calling when we get to that mature level of understanding. So that brings me to this question though. So when you hit your goals, so I'm sure, Super Beauty, that business, and then, being TiffanyJ, and then being able to branch off into these things, that's something you should absolutely be proud of. So when those things are called success and wins. So let me ask this, when you hit your goals, how do you celebrate? And then tell us why it's so important to celebrate.
So I want to say first, it's important to celebrate wins, regardless of how big they are. I always preach celebrate small wins. Now, I can't say I always celebrate my wins.
Okay.
That's just transparency. However, it's always just something next. But I'm definitely, all for people celebrating small wins. Like, if you struggle making up your bed every morning and this day you just so happen to make your bed up, like, go get an ice cream cone.
That's so, yep.
But I don't know. I kind of I don't really celebrate myself publicly, like out loud. There are times where I'm like, oh man, I'm proud of you, talking to myself, but it's always something else to do. So that's that.
And it's okay, but I guess I wanted to say that because whoever's listening, whoever may listen to the replay, I wanted to talk about that because I do know that was something for me that I wouldn't do, because I would feel like the wins that were the smaller wins, I didn't celebrate that enough because I felt like it needed to be something bigger to be considered successful, right?
But I don't feel that way. Like, small wins are wins. Like, small wins are wins.
And exactly, and that's what I'm saying. I'm here to talk about that, to express that to those who are listening. Like, no matter what, whether they're small wins or not, you celebrate them, even if it's in the quirkiest ways. Again, like you said, if it's something you can go to Chick-fil-A and get you your favorite takeout, just to celebrate what you've done.
You know,
Yeah, you know, it's
I went to the
something,
gym
but
this
just
morning and I wanted a donut after I left. I didn't get it, but I was tasting a donut, and you know, a win is me going to the gym.
exactly, and just tell, and again, the words you say to yourself, your thoughts, all of those things just play a role. Because I mean, you don't have to celebrate thinking it got to be, celebrating doing the going out in public. But I mean, like you said, you can personally celebrate, even if it's just, I mean, I don't know, with saying good things to yourself, and watching a good movie, and just taking
Hmm.
time off to just rest in that celebration. But you know, it can be celebration on any level, but I just wanted to just kind of elaborate more on that, because I want people to understand, if I can encourage while I'm here, just to say, look, you know, celebrate even those small wins,
Hmm.
you know, because sometimes, you know, we get beside ourselves thinking we got to shoot for the bigger things, and sometimes we're going to have those slip ups and those fails. But then what about your small wins too? They're all still victories, and you advancing and growing and developing and all of that. So those celebrations, whether they're small or big, is all important.
Right.
Um, so now, as an acclaimed singer, songwriter, author, speaker, innovator, trailblazer, right? Just having to embody such influential roles. Did this change how your task was, or responsibilities was for you on a day-to-day basis, just having so much to embody in all of those roles?
No, I'm regular. I'm real regular. I live a real regular life. So I think when you are in a position like me, you have to be present amongst the world in digital format. Like I tell
Mm-hmm.
people all the time, just because you see me posting on social media don't mean you know me.
Uh-huh.
Or you read about me. That's not all of me. It's basically it's a full picture, but it's not the whole picture. You know, it can
That's
paint
right.
it can be a portrait by itself, but it's not the whole picture of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm real regular, really, really regular. Like I still eat
Listen.
potato chip sandwiches. I had one this morning actually.
Listen, yes, ma'am. Shout out to the regularness, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. But I do know that, you know, when you have such roles that you embody, you know, sometimes if you may feel overwhelmed with that, because you got to step up to the plate of so
You
many things,
you
or you
can.
feel
There's a
like,
weight of responsibility. You know, you second guess the mistakes that you intend to make a lot more than
mm-hmm,
other people
mm-hmm,
because people are watching you.
mm-hmm.
But if it wasn't in me to be a good person, I wouldn't be one.
Okay, okay. Amen to that. All right. So now, which of those roles was one of the most challenging, or is the most challenging, and which one is like second nature to you?
My natural gift is music. However, I have not taken care of my musical skill. Um, I could be a lot
Mm,
better than I am if I practice and if I develop my musical skill. But it's been the thing that I've always done. Um,
mm-hmm.
but the hardest, I guess, I guess being an author wasn't necessarily like a second nature because I developed writing as a skill later on in life, and I didn't even know that it was coming about. Like when I wrote my first book, I didn't have a goal to write a book. Something
Mm-hmm.
happened in life and I was like, man, I'm about to write a book. Like it wasn't like I'm gonna write a book this year. Literally, I wrote my first book in 4 months and it was like a 152-page book. And
Wow.
after that, I branched off into children's book writing, and then I have like a self-help ebook and stuff out. But my first book was an adult book, and when I say adult, doesn't mean like adult rated. It just means it was for young adults and adults. It wasn't a children's book, and
Mm-hmm.
it was basically about self-development. But if I had to say anything, gave me the most. Uh, take that back. I was about to say being an author, but music still is the hardest. Even though music
Really?
is like my natural second nature, music is still the hardest of anything that I do. Music is definitely the hardest. I can't. I got to go back. I can't say being an author is harder than being a musician. It's not. Like I looked at some old clips of me today, because I'm preparing for a live recording next month, and yeah, music is definitely still the hardest thing that I do.
Okay. And I would assume, and it could, and if not, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it could be because, it's always still room for growth and
Oh,
improvement in
absolutely.
everything you're doing. Even if it's second nature to you, it's still something that you're going to still have to develop. It's still always the next new thing that you got to embrace yourself for. And then also you want to, of course, you might not be a perfectionist, like you said, but at some level you want to be like, man, this got to be right.
Oh yeah,
I ain't
absolutely.
putting out no foolishness. So it's going to always still, regardless, be a challenge. So I get it. I get
Like
it.
I can write a book by myself with absolutely nobody else. I can't put out a song solely by myself.
Wow.
I
Really?
I can't do that. I can't do every single part of the process of me making a song. Like I can do every single part of me writing a book, including
Hmm.
illustrating, but I cannot do every single part of writing a song. So music, while it's been like second nature, my natural gift or whatever, it's still the hardest thing I do.
That's right. Okay. Okay. So now I wanted to applaud you as far as, being able to come on and you just announced that, you were looking for opportunities for seeking press opportunities. So that allowed somebody like
Oh
myself
yeah,
to kind of
thank
say,
you
you know
for the
what?
opportunity.
Yes. And so I appreciate you doing that. So what I wanted to ask was tell us some I'm sorry, tell us some fun facts. No, I'm sorry, I'm missing my question here. Advise us on why humility is just such a key thing, because again, for you to be able to just go on and say, hey, I'm looking for press opportunities, you don't know, that could go any kind of way when you're just putting
Man, I ain't
yourself out
scared to
there,
tell
right?
nobody I'm looking for. I ain't scared to tell nobody I'm looking for help. Now, in certain situations, I'm not. I do have a little pride issue with some things, but be like, I need some press. No, I need some press. Like,
But as
but
easy
it's
as it may be for
no.
you, the next artist.
It, you have to understand that we have to work together to get to where we're trying to go individually, and in
Mm-hmm,
turn we kind of grow and get somewhere else together collectively. So
mm-hmm,
it's very important that while you succeed and you grow and you get better and you achieve, you got
mm-hmm.
to look back and remember you wasn't always, you wasn't always up to par. So you kind of got to remember that, and understand that there's always somewhere better to get to. So that's what
Mm-hmm.
should keep you humble.
That's right. Absolutely. And again, like I said, I truly appreciate you open up that, because, who's to say, somebody like myself, where we may look at it and say, okay, she's on a bigger platform. She has a bigger platform, a bigger audience, before knowing that you open that
Oh
opportunity. An average
no.
person, even like myself, would have been intimidated to say, you know what, let me reach out to her to see if she wants to
And
collaborate. In
I'm
which,
glad you
you
brought that
know,
up too.
yeah.
While it may seem that, well, it's hard to say this because some people do need to understand that I am out of reach, but at the same time, I'm not out of reach because some people are disrespectfully trying to connect,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't just connect with people any time of day or whatever. But like, I'm not too big to be on anybody's live stream or platform. Like I still pay. Like I got the same bills y'all got, you know. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not too big to be on whoever's platform. So yeah.
Yep, that's right. And so, but again, I wanted to let you know that I do appreciate that, because again, where once before, if I felt like, dang, well, she seemed like she's really busy. What's the point of me reaching out? Because I wouldn't, it
Well,
wouldn't work.
I'm glad
But
God led me to make that post then, so you could
yeah,
reach out.
yeah, because I mean, you got people out there that wants to connect and collaborate, because that shared audience is so helpful in a lot of times, because we're all trying to grow and build and get to that point of trying to reach a certain level of success. And sometimes we need that boost or that help from just collaborating and connecting with other people, but then everybody don't make it that easy. You know what
Right,
I'm saying?
right.
So I appreciate you for doing that. So we're gonna wrap it up because I know you got to go, but I do want to ask this question. Well, first just tell us about your new project and your album that you got coming up, and what can we expect and what inspired that?
So I'm actually about to start. Well, I'm about to rehearse some music for it now, but
Okay.
I'm doing a live recording for my third album next month,
Okay.
May 27th in my city, Columbia, South
Okay.
Carolina, and it's basically performing live a lot of favorites and things that I've already put out. So a lot of the material is just live versions of already released records, but we're going to introduce some new music too. So I'm
Okay.
excited about it. It's going to be filmed and we're going to release it in a movie theater, and I'm
Mm.
excited about the whole project. I wanted to do a live recording for a while now, so I'm trying not to be super excited on this live, but I'm excited if you can't tell.
Girl, you better cheese, girl,
um,
smile it up. That's something to be
so
excited about.
yeah,
So
excited
now I
about
do
it.
have a so now when you say you're recording a live
Uh-huh.
project, because again, like I said, I've have a little experience in the industry. So everything you're recording is going to be live. So you're going to have the instrumentalists there, and it's just going to be a live recording.
Yeah, live musicians, live background singers, live lead singer, live
Oh
audience.
man. Mm.
So like concert field, you remember Erica Badu live, and
Mm-hmm.
Jill Scott got some live records out, D'Angelo got a lot. That whole group of people that they call neo soul, I love. Well, first of all, I love live R&B records, period. But
Mm-hmm.
that field.
Okay. Yeah. So and thank you for giving that visual. So now really quick, since you said that, tell me some of your favorite artists.
Favorite artists: Jasmine Sullivan, Music Soul Child, Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, Kirk Franklin,
Okay.
John P. Key.
Okay. Okay.
um, I do I vibe with Ari Lennox.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I don't know a lot of what's going on today, sadly. But
No, it's not sad.
I hear like the songs and stuff mainly on TikTok, and then I hear the radio later. But I can't always tell you who sings what. Uh, oh, I absolutely love Mario.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, I like Jill Scott. I'm not a huge. Okay, I don't want to say that the wrong way. I think people assume I'm a huge fan of Jill Scott more than I am, but I love Jill Scott. Don't get me
Okay.
wrong. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
not the fan that people assume I am. I don't know.
Okay. Because
But
your
yeah.
music does relate to that soulful sound. So I'm sure that's
Yeah.
why people connect y'all like that. And I mean, but again, like you said, hey, she's a good artist to be related to.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I get it. But I wanted to say it was funny when you was like, well, you can't even really name some of the artists that they listen. Don't feel bad about that, because if I had to choose a genre, I'm absolutely still back in the 90s,
Yeah,
the early
dig it.
2000s and the 90s and even the 80s era of music. Like this music today, honestly, like you said, if it wasn't for like forced, imposed hearing of TikToks and social media, I would not be able to name none of these artists for
I
today.
got you.
It's a few that slip through the cracks that I might know as far as like the 2015 and above artists, but anybody that's like in that time, I don't know them. But back in 2090s, 80s, I rock with that still, and that's what I listen to majority of the time. So last few questions. If you know the Bible, right? And because I got to talk about this, I love just to have an opportunity for us to just share that we are children of God,
Mm-hmm.
and that we don't mind talking about it. So if you know the Bible, Paul told us that if we were going to boast, that we boast only in the Lord, only in God. So if you're okay with that, I wanted you to take a moment to just boast about the essential presence of God in your life and what he has done for you.
I think I'm grateful for him using me as a vessel more so
Mm-hmm.
than anything. It's not necessarily about successes or accolades or accomplishments. I think a lot of what I do, I'm inspired to do it because I know it inspires other people. Like I
Mm-hmm.
work so hard at achieving something just so somebody can look and be like, well, she did it, I can do it too. It's
Okay.
not even always about that I did it. It's just so that somebody can see. And it's a reason why I don't take people calling me a trailblazer lightly. I think sometimes I am assigned to do things not necessarily first, but first
Mm-hmm.
amongst a group of people so that they
Mm-hmm.
see it's okay that they try and do it too. So
That's right.
I'm grateful that he allows my light to shine that way.
And and that's some and that goes, I guess, to me, that sounds like it goes with saying like a type of person that's willing to just step out in faith and do certain things, because if you don't do it, you don't know who you are holding back from receiving the inspiration or the motivation, if you're not the type of person that's willing to shine your light bright, and like you said, just show everybody or show others that, hey, if I can do it, you can do it as well. And I mean, that shows a level of maturity as well to feel that way. Because again, using myself as an example, just at that younger age, I wasn't thinking about others. I had a bit of selfish ambitions. I was in it because I wanted it so bad, and I was only thinking about myself. So just to, hear that you're willing to mention that to inspire others and let people know, like, in this industry as an artist or whatever your calling is, whatever you're pursuing, it's not about you. It is about a calling or just that position in your life that you're on an assignment. That again, it's important that you're intentional about how you impact others and your influence and leaving this mark on in this world. So I appreciate you just saying that and just being transparent about that, because I just know for me, if I had to tell my story, it would be a bit different from what you're saying. So I just still appreciate hearing you as well. So last question, within 5 years, what would you like to happen for TiffanyJ? So that you can just speak life into it today. And don't think that it got to be something that you can be as detailed and specific as possible if you would like.
I would just say I just want some major placements, like some sync opportunities. I'm not necessarily, I won't say I'm looking for that. That's what I would like to see in the next 5 years, like a whole bunch of placements in film and
Mm-hmm.
TV, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a nice 5 year goal. Whether it's even products, it doesn't necessarily have to be music, but I just want to see some really major placements.
And that's a good goal to shoot for. Let me ask this: your team. So I'm sure you have a team of people. When for you to aspire to reach that level of success or have that type of opportunity, is it where a lot of your team is like saying, all right, hey, this is what we're shooting for TiffanyJ, the brand. We want to get you to be able to be a part of a what you call it, the movie soundtrack and things like that. That's the type of conversations you all are already having now?
So I do have a team, but not necessarily a team that orchestrates that kind of stuff. At this point, I do that kind of stuff on my own.
Okay.
And it can be overwhelming and tiring. I kind of assign
Mm-hmm.
things based on my direction, and I don't have a manager, if that answers your question. So
Okay. Okay.
for any type of sync opportunities, like the last couple I applied for, I went after and I sent all the paperwork in, and I kind of did all of that. Um, so yeah, my team isn't necessarily a team that's doing that type of work. My team more so shows up for me in the way that I need them in the moment.
Absolutely. And because you said that, it brought me back to, and I want to ask this: is it still where, like, a lot of times in the industry, when you're trying to like reach out to executives of certain things, like trying to be maybe a part of a soundtrack or trying to reach a record executive with certain record labels, it's hard to get to them. Like,
Well,
you
you got
have
to
to either
find music
have an
supervisors.
agency.
You either have to go through music supervisors or you have to link up with like sync agencies that screen your music first and
Exactly.
submit on your behalf. So you
It
probably not going directly to you the big person. You're
mhm.
channeling through somebody.
Exactly. And that's what I remember, because I was just wondering when you said you're still kind of taking on a lot of those ventures by yourself without having like a representative. You're sort of doing it yourself. So does it seem easy for you, or how does that seem
Well,
to
when
kind of
I
still be
say
able to submit?
by myself as in I'm sending it to the sync agency, then sync agency, they proof it. I'm just saying I still do a lot of administrative work. I'm not past that. That's the point I'm making.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know what? I do want to thank you for your time. I know that you gotta go, so
Yeah.
we are actually finished here. Hopefully we can maybe do this again some other time. But I do want to thank you for coming on and taking the time out of your busy day to do this with me. And so tell everybody again, you know, how can they reach you for those who may be on or watch the replay that don't know Tiffany J? How can they follow you? What's your website?
Awesome. So you can click my name, my Instagram profile here, but website I am TiffanyJ.com, and everything is there.
Yes, ma'am. Very easy and plain and simple as said. So everybody, we're going to go ahead and go. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for this opportunity. I do wish you the best. Thank you for rocking my earrings. It looks really cute on you just to see that right there on the screen. So I appreciate that. Wear them in health and in love. And again, I do wish you all the best moving forward.
Thank you, Ebony.
And hopefully we can just connect again soon.
Absolutely. You have a good one.
All right. Yes, ma'am. You have a good day, darling. And y'all have a good day. Take care. See you all next time.